Okay, so good morning, everyone. Well, welcome to the second meeting of the Swaneliat Wiki Book project, uh, which is in collaboration with the editors of the Swaneliat Wiki and the Wiki Voting Book. And my name is Kambai, and I'll just want us to do a quick introduction and not to take much time. Then we go straight into business. So I'll just hand over the mic to Kuyet to introduce himself and then uh, give it to the next. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Kambai. Uh, First, Mr. Marco, it's good having you again. Good morning. So, my name is Friday Kuyet Musa. I am a member of the Tyap Wikimedians and also an editor of the Tyap Dictionary project. So, I live here in Nigeria, and with me are some of my colleagues whom we also work together in the team. I'll just hand over the mic to uh, Gwakap to kindly introduce yourself. Then we
We
pass to
have
the
two
next.
Quackups.
Yes, it's just one, I guess. I don't know what happened. Okay, it's like he's having. Yes, Gwakap, we can hear you.
Oh, it's you.
So my name is Benjamin Agwapa Anthony, and I'm a member of the staff media and an editor of the Song Association.
Thank you, Gwakap. Your audio. Thank you, Gwakap. Okay, Mashan.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Marco. Good morning, everybody in the house. My name is Mashan Genesis Comeback. I'm also a member of the Tyap Wikimedia organization. I live here in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I will just return the mic back to Kambai as he take up the session properly while him and Mr. Marco will just listen to them keenly.
Much great. Thank you very much, Gwakap and Shani. Sorry, Mr. Marco, you're on
Yes.
next.
Well, I'm Marco Zwart. You can call me Marco, and I'm a moderator of Wiki Wordbook. And some years in the past, I met Kambai online, and that was the beginning of this project, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite awesome, and it is still quite very awesome to have Mr. Mark, to have Mr. Swart, or he just wants to be known as Marco as well. So thank you very much, and let me just share my screen right away so that we see the progress of our project thus far. So here's my screen. um so here's my screen right here. So I don't know, can we all see my screen correctly?
Yes, we can
Yeah.
see it.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So just like we learned in the last meeting, this very Sonaliat Wiki Voting Book joint visionary project is the third one, after the two parts we had last year in January and later on in around May. And this very one, we have not actually been able to complete the project we started. We earlier started hoping that we'll be able to have up to at least 1,000 words, consisting of verbs, of nouns, of adjectives, and other parts of speech. But then we were not able to actually do that. At best, we were able to do just around 700 in the last two encounters. But this very one, it actually looks so slow to me, more than the others had been. And I don't know what it could have been, but I know that it's the beginning of the year, and beginnings of the year like this are usually very, very tasky, and mm, you know, one activity or the other which takes our time. But then I won't want to base everything on excuses, but I know that we still have the capacity to do much more than we have done thus far. So we had our first meeting on the 10th of January 2026, and this very meeting is holding today, Saturday, 31st of January 2026, and we have with us at least five members of the entire team. Unfortunately, we are not having Yolan with us today, who is the newest join us in the project, and then we also have Genesis Shan, who is also joining us as well for the first time in this very project. So we are kind of growing, and we hope that we grow to the point that we have enough people that will be able to contribute to this very project, without any barriers. And unfortunately, we are not having some of the editors with us whom we would have been glad to have, so that we would show them some of the things they are doing wrong, especially in the Songliat wiki, which is actually having few number of words which we actually need to develop for Mr. Marco, I mean for Mr. Swat or Marco to be able to work on. So that's our primary responsibility. We have a very minimal number of of entries in the Songliat wiki, which we have to kind of create, and these are the ways that we can be able to create them. First of all, we can be able to create a whole new article. That's how to participate in this very project. You can create a whole new entry in the Shangliat wiki for the Dutch participants in the wiki Wallenberg, and then you can also be able to translate the items, or the entries rather, in the language of the author. For example, if we open to the article Agamun, for example, which means mosquito, you can see that this very Agamun is kind of a Tyap word, yes, but whatever follows is in the Dutch language, but then that shows you that one has to be a Dutch speaker, and that is the part that the Dutch editors would take, in this very project. They create words of their language origin in the Dutch dictionary, which is the Wiki Wooden Book, and then explain it entirely in the fashion of the Dutch dictionary, in the fashion of the Wiki Wooden Book. And you can see everything here is in Dutch from top to bottom. So we also have, you can see this very singulars, and then the plural, and then you can also see the definite article here, and then definite article here for it, because these definite articles are very important so long as this very project is concerned, both for the Dutch language and for the Tyap language. Just that the Dutch language has a fewer number of them for definite articles. The Dutch has two, and one indefinite article, or thereabout. Am I wrong, Mr. Swat?
We have two definite articles, and for the indefinite, in plural, you don't need an article, and in singular, we have one.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. So we have three articles totally in the Dutch language, and just one for the plural forms of indefinite, forms of nouns, and then we also have one for plurals of definite articles, and then two for which one of them is also used for plural as well. But for Tiap, we have about six of them, and unlike the Dutch language, we don't have any at all for indefinite articles. The indefinite articles are a and. For example, in English, we say a book, a cat, a house, because the next word starts with a consonant sound. But when you are having the next word starting with a vowel sound, they'll use and. That's why we have an orange and an apple and so on and so forth. But then that's English language. The Dutch language functions in another realm, and then the Tiap language also functions in another realm. So that's the reason why we actually need people who speak these languages to be able to edit this very project. And we also look at this very word mush, mush in
Mug.
Mukh.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Mukh in the Swangaliat wiki. So this is actually looking like a Tiap word. Yes, it's looking like a Tiap word. But then in written Tiap, we would actually ordinarily spell this K with this G with a K. But then you can hear the pronunciation in the Dutch language. It is pronounced Mukh, and we don't have a ending in tier words,
Men.
even though we actually have the sound, yes, but then they usually don't appear at the end. Yeah, so that's a kind of difference. But then we are having to explain everything that this mukh means in the Swahiliat wiki, and we are starting with this yay. You can see yay here is pronunciation in Tiap. Dot here is a Tiapized form of the word Dutch, and it means the Dutch language, or the language called Netherlands. And then we have Eliot here, and Eliot means noun or name, which stands for the part of speech. So whenever you have the pronunciation, you always have following it the Zunzo Alium phonetic Bibin Swanta, which is translated to IPA. So this IPA actually helps both the TAP speakers and the non-TAP speakers to be able to understand how to pronounce it. Just that I'm not so familiar with this symbol in IPA. Otherwise, I won't have even asked Mr. Swart, but then well, we would actually need help sometimes. Yes, so this is milk in the Dutch language,
Yeah.
and you can actually see it. It's just one syllable. A syllable is whenever we have to break in between pronunciation of a particular word. For example, you can see this word buong, buong. You have to break twice to pronounce this very word. The same thing with kum, you break twice to pronounce this word. But if you have this word te, you don't have to break in between, so it's just one word. And this is what what, even though this one is looking long, yes, but then everything here after this a underlined is one syllable, what. So we have and then what. So no matter how long the word is, so long as you pronounce it once or twice, that makes it that gives you the number of syllable it has. And in Tiap, we render the word syllable as tiong, and this very word milk has only one syllable. That's why we have a tiong and a nyum is one, so it has one syllable. So but if it is a word like a buong, then we'll have to put the plural form of a tiong, which is a kationg. They will have to put a fang, which is two. Then if it is three syllables, then we'll have to put a kationg, then we'll have three, so and so on and so forth. And then we also have the onward. The onward here is the audio or the voice. Usually we record these on Wiki Commons. So if you are new to the whole project, you can just browse Wikimedia Commons, and then once the environment opens, you are going to see Wikimedia Commons on your screen. Right there, you just click it open, and then you, on the very home page, you see upload right here, and then you click on upload, and then you select your media. But already you must have recorded that very word and kept it. So you can just import it from your phone. You can use a USB, record it on your phone, and transfer it to a particular location that will be very easy for you to kind of locate. And once you are able to locate it, let's just assume that any of these documents I'm going to select is an audio that I recorded, which is representing a Tyap word. Let's just use this logo. I'm not going to, let's assume it is an audio, and at the end of the day, I'll just click on going forward, and then next I'll just go to create this item, and then of course I was the one that recorded it, and then I will just select this very last Creative Commons Attribute 4.0 license, which is kind of very advisable to use when we are using, or you can use this as well. And then you click next, and then in the naming, if you are uploading a Tyap word, always put it this way, start like this. And then let's say that very word I'm uploading is let's say agamun, for example, agamun, or agamun, and then I would want to spell it the way Tia spells, so I'll put a underline. A underline is given when you are on Commons by clicking on this tilde, and then clicking on your shift, and then clicking on the minus. That gives you the a underline. So agamun, that's all. Then you just copy the same thing, paste it on the caption, or you can put something else there in the caption, but in the naming always follow this very style. If it is for the Dutch dictionary, if it is for the wiki volume book, I will just put NL instead, which is representing the symbol for the word Netherlands, and then I'll put the word in the Dutch language, hopefully mute. But then let's assume that this is tab I'm using, because the reason why we're putting this is so that we'll be able to trace these words very easily, and anybody can be able to guess what the name of the file is on Wikimedia Commons. Thanks to Marco last year, he explained this to us, and we are actually trying as much as possible to follow this. I can see Guakapi is actually following this very religiously, and he's recording a lot of words. And then also you can put the date. Let's assume that this work was done today, and then you just in this very place, maybe you can put an audio there also, maybe something, an audio recording. And then for this very one, please go to the category. The very first thing that you can put there is the category for this very project. Let's just say that assume that I'm doing this very work fresh, so I'll just find the location of this very project page on Meta Wiki, and then I'll just go over and then copy exactly as it is. I don't want to assume the title because I can just miss one word there. So but then it's not actually advisable to copy from here directly. Just go directly to Wikimedia Commons. So I'll just locate where my gallery is. Please find images related to this very project here. So once I just click there, then I can see the actual category and the naming I'm supposed to use. So don't copy this category, just copy the title after the colon, and then you go back to your upload. If you are using a phone, you can still minimize and then go to the very item you are uploading, and then you just paste it. By the time you paste it, you see the exact title category would come out. And when you are done with this, then maybe you can also add the next one, maybe tier pronunciations, so that all words that are under the tier language would be able to appear under the same category. So you can just choose maybe a parent category, also And if you are someone like me, I would like want to put my own audio category also, maybe audios recorded by Canva. Mm, Also, oh, sorry, I forgot the name of the category. So maybe when I remember, I can put it there, or I can re-edit the whole work. And all I need to do is just to click on publish. Once I click on publish, it will be published. So once it is published, it will be reflected in this very home category. And remember, I'm not uploading this very file. So let's assume I've uploaded my audio. I will just come back to this very category on Wikimedia Commons, and then I will locate the file. You can see all the recordings that were done mostly by Guaca, who actually has been very up and doing this very project. So he has uploaded a number of files. Let's see, the one I uploaded, which is Agamu, is this very one that I just highlighted. So all I need to do is just to copy that very title, and then I'll go back to my entry to my to wiki volume book, that's I mean to Shanglia to wiki rather. And then so I've missed the path. So let me go back, and then I'll go back to Muse, as if I didn't miss anything. Yes, so I'll leave this very page and then go back right here. So this is where we started. So let's assume that this very mesh was not here before now, or let's assume that it is Agamun trying to add audio to. So yeah, you can see Agamun doesn't have an audio. So we still have the same pattern, both the Tyap entries and the the Dutch entries as well. Sorry, my computer is just misbehaving this very morning. I don't know why. Uh, so you can just go to this very place, Juk, and then you can just add these. Um, sorry, you can just add the audio here. You 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 paste it. uh let's assume that this one is agamun, not milk, not milk. And yes, and then we are also having agamun here. So you just copy there and then paste the audio right at this very location. And remember to change the symbol to kcg, assuming this is a TAP entry. So you change it to KCG, and then you put the audio there, and then the hyphenation represents how many syllables are there. If it is agamun, then you have and then you put a pipe there, and then you put g, and then you put a pipe, and then you put moon. Yes, so that makes it three syllables, and then this changes to Kationg. That just as easy as that. And if you get confused, please refer to any entry that has been translated already. So if you actually look at the table, you see from the very top, you can copy any of those ones at the very top. Let's say the first 10 entries, but then I'll get there. But just to finish up from this very page, as soon as one is done with all this, the category is also kind of helpful to have all the works we have done in this very project in the same category. So this one was done in the last project we had. That's why you are having the Sonaliad Wikiwon book project part 2 right here. So for this very Dutch entries for the Tyap editors, please don't worry yourself much about this very one. Marco would handle that, because this one, we actually need to create the Tyap equivalent of the entry. If we didn't create for Agamun, then that means he would have some difficulty creating for Mur. But then if we create for the particular word in Tyap, then he finds it easier to create the equivalent in the Songliat wiki. So that's the reason why we are like, please, all TAP editors should concentrate more on creating more entries. But then, as we are creating the entries, please, we should actually be taking note of the styling, because you can see the way the pattern, everything is going. It is already stylized, and it won't be good that all of us are creating just based on the way we want to create it. That's the reason why I was hoping maybe we'll have the female counterpart with us today, but then they are not here. But then I'll just go through it, assuming that they are with us, or assuming that they are going to watch this very video afterward. So that was just a highlight of the entry in, I mean, in the Dutch language in the Swangliat wiki. And then for the Swangliat, for the wiki wooden book, I think Mr. Marco can be able to speak about that a bit later. But then let me just take our time a little bit, and then I'll hand over the mic to him. So you can see that in some certain words, we actually don't have plurals for them in Tiap. For example, like one is an uncountable noun, and even though some uncountable nouns in Tiap have plurals, but there's some others, or let's say the most of them do not have it. And I think it's the same situation in the Dutch language in some certain aspects, because I think I've discovered some like this host. So this one doesn't seem to have a plural, but I think Mr. Marco would object if a plural exists, because I was expecting that the plural would be the host, the host. But then when I checked, I didn't see anything like a plural. So that means this very word doesn't have a plural. So the same thing we have also in the tier, just that some words also they mean more than one thing. So you can see a thinker is a word representing three words consecutively. It can mean a stem, and then it can also mean the base of a rock or the base of any object. It can also mean a foundation, and then it can also mean the direction east. And we can see this black one is pointing towards east, but we have not translated this yet to the Tyap language, but we will do that in the near future. So you can see when a word has more than one meaning, this is the way it is done. You can see numbering right here, but then if we click into the main article itself underneath, you see something else. So this is the styling. Whenever you have a hashtag, it represents a number. If you don't put, if you don't put an asterisk to it, it won't be a number anymore. So this is a number, this is a number, this is a number without the asterisk. But then if you space this very one, you are going to break the numbering. This is going to be one, and instead of you having, sorry, not here, right here, if you break this very one here, instead of you having two, you are going to have another one again. So we don't usually space them. And if you are doubting, maybe you think uh, I'm lying. Yes. So let's do practical uh kind of let's have it practically. So you see I spaced it earlier on, and so we are having one here, and then we are having one, and that place that you are seeing asterisk, they are the ones that gave birth to these dots, these children of this very number one right here. So when we go back again, we are going to see how it will look when we remove this very space in between. So now we'll go to publish, and then we'll go to preview, and then you are going to see that it has come back to the proper numbering, one, two, three. So whenever we have a line, thank you, whenever we have a line like this, we define what the word is in the Tiap language, if it is the Shongalet wiki, and then wherever we have that asterisk, those ones represent examples. And so we have three examples usually in the Shongalet wiki per entry, per definition, per explanation. So this one explains or what the ocon is in terms of the part of a tree. uh, so and I can just observe, I can just notice, I just noticed an error. So you can also be able to edit by correcting the errors in translation. If the whole translation is looking like kind of on Tiapic, maybe somebody, maybe it's Canva that translated this, maybe you can just put it in another tone and then let it sound more Tiapic. And then if we are spelling errors as well, you can also here, you can also translate, you can also readjust the whole thing and make it look more natural. And you can see that whenever we are translating, we are having two asterisks before and then two asterisks after. I mean, not asterisk,
Apostrophes.
what do you call it? Apostrophes,
Apostrophes.
apostrophes. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so we have two apostrophes before and after the sentence, so that the whole thing will look slanty. And if it doesn't have an apostrophe, then that means that it is not actually a definition. It is I mean, it's not an example, it is a definition. So whenever we have two apostrophes before and after, and then usually we bolden the word where the word appears in the sentence, so that we'll be able to take note. Our eyes will just go straight to uh, that very word, that keyword, whenever we are, looking at the examples. So this is just the way we just have the Swanlia Wiki for now. Hopefully, we'll still modernize it later on, and then make it look a bit different. But then that may be after this very project. And then we also have the tie. The tie here represents the synonyms, the words that look alike, and maybe they have similar meanings also. And then we also have related words. That's boom one, or boom one ali, that is C also. So as represents, I mean, as referring to farm, which is direction now, we have a Kawatia, which is center. We have south, which is Ada, which is attack. We have north, which is Ada, and then we have junction, which is the word for evening, and also the same word for west. So we have these similar words that you can also compare with, and then we also have the derivations or the derivatives of that very thing, which are represented by boy boy in here, right here. So we have a tina by, which is the base of a knife, a tina fan, which is the base of a mountain. We have a tina kwan, which is the base of a tree or the stem of the tree. And then we have the Atinokwa, which is not really the base, but the stem, or just singular form for grass, because a crop is the word for grass, and Atinokwa is the singular for a grass. And then we have Atinaliat, which is actually maybe the foundation of the word, or maybe the foreword. And then we have Atin 4, which is the nape of the neck. And then we also have the Buan Delilium Yang. The Delilium Yang represents the translations to other languages. And before you start, you also have the template, which is the transtop. And this very one is the cap. The Capricorn is representing the thing that means the stem. And then we also have, if you look at this very part also, is the a thing that represents the direction, I mean the foundation or the beginning, which is the atan. And they also have the a thing that means the direction, which is farm. And then we also have the translations in other languages, which may be different. And just like if we look at the Dutch translation, we have the stamp right here, and then we also have the begin for the atan, which is the Atin beginning. And then we also have the Osten, which is the east direction. And in this very, as long as this very project is concerned, I can see that some editors, they translate, they create articles, entries rather, without putting the Dutch translation. In fact, the Dutch translation should even be, if you are going to exclude any other language, should be the only one you should even put right there. So please, let's take note, because we want to actually increase the number of articles where the Dutch language could be found in the Swahili wiki, and this is part of the core reason why we are doing this project. So if you exclude this very translation in the Swahili wiki, then you are not really following this very project. In fact, you are doing another project entirely. So please, let's take note. Yes, yes. So if I were you, I'll just pick Dutch, and then I'll pick the Shong, because the Shong is our interface language. That's the English language, is our interface language, so that if Marco goes over to a particular entry, all he will do is just to go straight to Shong or go to Dot, and then he will see the translation, and then he will know exactly what to do. He doesn't need any explanation again from you, because you have done the best you have done to show him that this very word, it represents so so and so word, and so he can create the English, I mean the Dutch version for that very Tyap word. So that's the way we do this very project, and that's the way we are going to make it to move forward, better. So we also have the IFN. The IFN represents the references. We are just having this as a, like, as a template, because even though we don't have references yet, but in case we finally have them there, then everything is going to fall under, you see where the words were gotten from. And then we can see this Wikipedia, this is a template for Wikipedia, but then not all words should carry this template Wikipedia. Only nouns carry this template, and not just nouns, only singular nouns. Remember, in the TEP Wikipedia, we don't have separate articles for plural nouns, and we don't have entries for pronouns. We don't have entries uh, for for verbs. We don't have entries for adjectives, and that's the way it is in the English Wikipedia and any other Wikipedia, including the Dutch Wikipedia as well. So we only deal with singular nouns. That's when we put this entry Wikipedia. So that's the reason why you may have created, and then you see that I'll go there and I'll delete this very template because it's not supposed to be there. And then we have these categories. The very first one is the category for the part of speech, which is the allele, because the three entries there, they are all nouns, so we just put allele. But in case a thing can also mean a verb, would also put another category, which is term, right here. But then it cannot function as a verb, so we don't have to put term right here. And then this very one here is part of a tree, which is income, or parts of a tree, which is nkabokwan. Is just representing what that a thing can be. And then we can also have more categories as much as possible that we can be able to fit. We can also have another category, which is directions now. So whenever you click on this very one, you can be able to see everything that's related to this very word farm. And then this very one right here is here because this very entry was created during this program, which is the Tiawiki Medians Azaria outreach. And earlier on, I asked Guakam not to put the category for this very program, which is the Sonalia Wiki Voting Book project, because this one is not created anew. It's not a new creation. We only put that very category added to categories that were created in this very program, so that we'll be able to track how many entries we were able to create in this very program. By the time we add this very category, the home category, that is the Sonalia Wiki Voting Book pilot, project, right here, is going to distort the whole calculation. I usually go through and to remove this very category from entries that were not created during this very program. Instead, we are still able to track uh, the edits that were done during this very program from the homepage itself. So if you go here, if you are an event organizer, I couldn't add Mr. Swat here because Mr. Swart, you have not yet asked for event organizers right yet on MetaWiki.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes, so maybe by the time Mr. Swart is able to apply for event organizer right, we can also have Mr. Swart right here. But mainly, I don't know about non-organizers, but for organizers, I'm able to see the contributions by everyone. And I can also be able to send messages to everyone at the same time right here. So for contributions, one can be able to see whether you have added category to it or not. So long as it is represented on the table right there, we can be able to have uh, all the tracking of the, so because you can see Guacap has been doing a lot of work, and also Benyan has also been doing a lot of work right here. But then there are some things that I wanted to point out right here. So I'll pick one of the articles or one of the entries by Benyan, and then I'll let us know what is wrong with them, what is wrong with that. Like for this very Ngoniam, you can actually see that there's a lower error here, and what to do to fix this very error has been put right here. So this very G that you are seeing, you may think that they are the same thing, but they are not the same thing. The IPA G is the one that is here, and the normal G that we use in our keyboard, in the African keyboard, is the one here. So you have to actually click on the red writing right here, and then copy this very G. You just copy this G. I just copied it. Copy, then close it. Then you go back to your edit, and then go to where that G is and replace it with the new G. You can see it is looking different now. This is IPAG, but this is nga sound, the nga sound. Even if you cannot be able to trace it, you can always go to Google and say IPAG. I'll just search for IPANG. IPNG, Google will just give me directly. So I don't really have to stress myself whether I have the keyboard to type or not. As long as I can be able to browse, I'll just go and then represent this very sound right here. So this is nga, mm, ngwo, gonium. And remember, or we have to take note that whenever we have palatal sounds and labialized sound, they are written differently. So we'll go back again and ask for IPAGW, IPAGW. So palatal sounds are the ones that carry Y at the end, and then labialized sounds are the ones that carry W at the end. So we'll just copy this very one and then take it back again and replace what we have there. So we have ngo. You can see this is O, which is complete closure of the lip. And then if we have O, it is usually a half O, is a half O. If you were using Yoruba now, we'll write O with a dot underneath, but Tyap doesn't separate between the open O and the closed O. So we just write all of them the same way normally. But then when we are transcribing them to IPA, we usually have to put if it is open O or closed O. For example, the word like bomb, sometimes it is a short sound, sometimes it's an open sound, bomb, an open O. So that one may be different, but this very word ngonium is a clear O sound, and then the name now, I don't know, maybe we have to add a Y here. Um, that's why we actually need core linguists to help us out. But I'm just using intuition to do these very renditions. So I may be wrong a little, but well, we Yeah, thanks. So we actually represent the Y sound with a J, but then that is it. I wanted to actually make it like a small Y suspended up there, um, or let's just say a subscript or superscript J, so it can take it up for me right here, so I can see it right here. So I'll just take it and represent it right there. So you can see this is a rough IP rendition right here, and so this is the sound, the IP rendition. This is the audio, but there's one thing that is missing, which is the hyphenation. So Benyan has to actually go back to hyphenate this very one. And myself, I can't even be able to remember how the template looks, but I can always be able to go to an article that has already been created, like this very one, and then I'll go over. This is actually the way I do my editing. I'll go and copy whatever is there, and then I'll go back to this very one, since I can't be able to remember everything at the same time, and then I'll paste it, and then I'll begin to change whatever needs to be changed. In this very state, in this very place now, all I need is the hyphenation part of it. I'll paste it, and then I'll put the word Ngoniam, but then we have to put dot to them, or rather, we don't have to put it manually. We only need to kind of do that. We actually need to do that by putting pipes to and then I'll just delete this other one. That's all for now. And then also the audio Ngoniam, assuming that the audio which was uploaded is carrying this very title, and then I'll publish it. So I'm going to connect my system to my power, because whenever I connect it to the power, it makes it to misbehave, like the mouse doesn't move like this. So for now, let me just pause a bit, and then I would hand over the mic to Mr. Swat to continue, hoping that we have already understood how to do this very editing. But then, if you're having a challenge with the whole thing, please go back to any of the articles or any of the
Well,
Okay, I think Kambai just lost power. So at this point, maybe Marco, maybe you'll just give us a brief highlight of what is happening from your own end. While okay, Kambai is here,
come
but
by is
meanwhile,
back.
I think yes. So yes, Mr. Schwartz, maybe you'll just give us
Okay,
a snippet of what's happening from your end.
I
Thank you.
think this was a very interesting uh, talk because I learned something about the way Swangliate Boekenweg is operating. So that's useful. And maybe it would be useful too. We have now these lists of words we want to translate. Maybe it would be useful to have a special table with linguistic terms and the headings we use on uh, Swangliate Wiki and Wiki Woordenboek to translate those easier because I often find it difficult to understand. I see a heading, but what is this heading? What does this heading mean? So maybe we could make that a separate table for words to translate. Um, uh, I have been, Jolan has been busy reading into the information about TIAP, and he is ready, as he showed on the uh, project page, to answer questions. And of course, I myself have some questions, so I have already added those to the uh, talk page. We have this project page on Meta, and connected to this project page, there is a talk page. And on this talk page, you can ask questions of Jolan. And I have started to ask four questions already. Uh, some of them are very broad questions, but they are important for Wiki Wordbook to understand better what templates and what categories we should make to describe the TIAP words properly. I myself have been busy, firstly, to make some minor corrections in the table on the project page concerning the Dutch words, and I'm working to make lists because if I add words to Wiki Wordbook, I usually work from a list, and it's almost semi-automatic to add the new entry. So that's a different way to work because Wiki Wordbook works with a lot of templates. If you ever try to look how a page on Wiki Wordbook is edited, you will find out that it's all full of templates. And if you don't know these templates, it's rather difficult to work with it. But once you know them, you can edit really fast. So that's the reason we have them. Um, I have, except for the question about the headings and the linguistic terms, which I think we could simply do by looking at Songlet Wiki and Wiki Wordbook and make lists of the terms we would like to translate. I have, uh, again, also on the talk page, but not for Jolan, ask about birds of prey. And I understand this is a difficult question. I myself, I'm not a biologist, so I don't know a lot of about birds, but maybe there is someone who speaks Tiap and who also has an interest in birds and who would know the translations for the names of these particular birds, because the interesting part about some birds of prey is that they both live in Nigeria and the Netherlands. So it might be that we both have words for the same bird. But that's a more difficult question. So I can fully understand if there is no one around who both knows about birds and knows about TIAP, but I think it's useful to have the question ready. Ah, that's the answer of another question. And I noticed the compass directions, and now there are only four. But usually we use a description of compass directions, and we not only do the main four, but we use the ones in between and the ones in between them too. So maybe it would be possible to make a special table about the compass directions and the way all these words are translated, because we have already a template to present them, and then we can do that at once and not word by word. Um, the same problem is also with verbs. I asked Jolan to look into the way verbs change in use in TIAP, because usually in a language, that's one of the interesting parts. There are sometimes, depending on who is talking to who, the form of the verb is changing. Sometimes there are different forms for the future and the past. I don't know how it is in TIAP, but I have asked Jolan to find out and to describe it. And once we know how this operates in TIAP, we can make a special template for TIAP verbs. And then when we have that, I will start adding the verbs to Wiki Wordbook, because once again, once you have the templates, it's a lot faster working. And if you start adding them one by one and part by part, it's more work in the beginning, and if you later on have a template and then you have to put them uh, again in the template because you added them earlier, you have done the same work twice. So I try to avoid that. So now I'm concentrating on the nouns. I have corrected the Dutch part, and in the following week I intend to add the TIAP words to Wiki Wordbook, and once I have done that, I will try to add at least the words that are already on Smangla to Wiki, also to provide the Dutch words to Smangla to Wiki. That's all these things to me are not very difficult, even if the translation in Dutch is missing on the TIAP entry. That's not a very big problem for me because I can see that the word is already present, and then I simply add the translation. That's not as bad as you feared, come by. I can solve that. But the really important thing is add more TIAP words to Springer Wiki, because that's the key to opening all the other translations too. Well, I think that's all I had for this moment. And maybe I would like to tell something about the way Wiki Wordbook items are structured, but then I would need to have a separate connection for my computer, because now I'm talking to my phone, which has better sound and a reasonable image. And I could, if I want to give this presentation, I would also have to connect my computer to the discussion. Maybe we can do that in the future. Well, that's for now, I guess.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
very much. Okay, Kuya.
Yes, continue.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Swat. So maybe and we unfortunately are not going to have any other meeting until the very end of the program by the end of this very month. Nevertheless, I can still highlight a little bit of the Wiki voting book, so that we can be able to see the structure, how it looks. So I'll still share my screen, and then I'll complete what I wanted to say, even though our time is fast spent already. Okay, so let me go quickly, and then so this is the article. This is a TIAP article entry, which
Yeah.
is a Gamun. So from here we can be able to travel directly. And thank you very much, Mr. Swat, for making it clear that he actually can be able to navigate. That he can be able to navigate through the whole thing. But then, if we should be able to navigate to the Wiki voting book, we can we would have to kind of add it still, so that whenever we click on NL, it will link us directly to the wiki volume book. And this is the general structure, and unfortunately we are yet to actually have all the templates, but I won't want to promise, but I will work on it. It's just the time, you know it's kind of lagging
Even a
lacking.
simple word as mug has an enormous amount of descriptions already.
Yes, truly, truly. So
I can
you
I
can.
can talk you to from top to down, but
Okay. Okay. So you can just take it.
if you go all to the top, there you have
Okay.
there is also a word MUG with capitals. So we start with, yes, that's that. We start with
Okay.
informing the reader that there is also this word MUG in capitals, and that's a separate page. So people can click there if they really were looking for that word. But of course, if you are not looking there for, then the first header is Netherlands. It's Dutch. The All our headers are linked to the page where the language is, the word name of the language is described. Then the first header is uitspraak, pronunciation. We have two lines usually. The first one is geluid, the sound file. We have over 500,000 Dutch words with a sound file. And the next one is IPA. It's a description in the phonetic alphabet. So you showed us how this works in Strong the Wiki, and it's about the same with us. Then we have the next item is the woordafbreking, hyphenation. It shows if you are writing a text and you are at the end of the line where you can break off the word and put the remainder on the next line. That's not the same as the way the word is split up in the pronunciation. They are comparable. Often they are the same, but they're not always the same in Dutch. Therefore, we have a separate header for woordafbreking. That's not so. Not all languages have this. If you have, for instance, Italian, well, woordafbreking, hyphenation, and the pronunciation are always the same. So there's no need for a separate header. But with us, there is. But the woordafbreking, hyphenation is meant for the written language. It's not for the pronunciation. The next header is
Okay, we're on.
we were at woordherkomst en opbouw, which means roughly etymology, the way the